the title of this book, The Clothes on Their Backs, really refers to the fact that when you have absolutely nothing left, the last nothing you will have are your clothes. You will be allowed to starve, but you will not be allowed to go around naked. So clothes have a powerful effect on us, and they have a powerful effect on the way the world sees us and the way we create and form our identity throughout our lives. And I wanted to show a number of different characters who in different ways were very dependent on what they wore. In the worst circumstances, Sandor Kovacs, who is a slave labourer in the war, who is wearing rags, his girlfriend Eunice, who is black, who has gained her self-respect in the world by always wearing very fine clothes. Vivian, the narrator, who is, through the course of the novel, always being dressed by other people and changing each time she wears different clothes. This book started with the characters of the parents, Ervin and Berta Kovacs. They were the characters that I wrote first, and they're actually being written for a completely different book. The narrator was supposed to leave London, in fact leave the country, but having created in 2 paragraphs the parents, I realised that they were the people that I wanted to write about. So I then had to find a novel to put them in, and about 2 or 3 years earlier I had been thinking about the character of Peter Rachman, the notorious slum landlord in 1950s London, and had thought, you know, there might be a novel about him to be written, and I felt that I could sort of possibly bring these 2 characters together with him. My initial thought had been to write a novel about the daughter of Peter Rachman. He didn't have any children, and since, you know, I already had, you know, these parents, I had to make him the uncle. So that was its genesis. His story seems to me to be absolutely central to any understanding of the times that we live in. He was notorious in the late 1950s for renting rooms to new arrivals from the Caribbean that were particularly squalid. But he was also a survivor of the slave labour units. He was a Jewish Holocaust survivor who arrived after the war with absolutely nothing. And I think that his life really addresses this problem, which is suffering does not ennoble. And it's naive and foolish to believe that suffering does ennoble. What his story addresses is the question of what people need to do in order to survive. And we can't make moral judgments about anybody unless we come to grips with that question. I far prefer writing fiction to non-fiction. You're allowed to engage with that which is most interesting, which is your imagination, your subconscious, your exploration of the world which is not tied down to facts, curiosity, daydream, idleness, all the things which to me are the great pleasure of life.